never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.
Hi guys, welcome back to Neff Inspiration, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stephan Neff. Today's another fantastic day for an interview, and I am looking forward to this interview because I've got Daniel Packard with me. Daniel is a comedian. He is a man who has gone through the darkness himself. He is a man who has grown to appreciate all those neurochemical waves that hit you and that can make that we give the labels of anxiety attacks, etc. And he is nowadays saying, actually, you know what? You can get rid of that anxiety for good. I want to read that. Now, yeah, right, my ass. You just get rid of anxiety. Yeah, you show me how to do that. Well, that was the challenge. I needed to get Daniel on my show. Daniel, welcome. Let's explore anxiety and let's explore ways how we can grow into better humans. Welcome to my show.
Thank you so much for having me on Steps to Sobriety. I knew you would have a beautiful shirt, so I wanted to match you. You crazy, weird German you. I'm loving it. And I want to just welcome your audience and thank them. I think everybody's in pain. Some people admit it, and your audience acknowledges that they're addicts and dealing with mental health. So I want to say, I know you're in pain. Thank you for keep going. Thank you for wanting to be better and keep showing up for you and the people that you care about. It takes courage to be in pain and keep going. So thank you. And I promise you that you're going to hear something in the next hour. And I don't use this term lightly. It will change your life if you're paying attention.
Beautiful. Oh, goodness. Where to start? We're talking about such a fundamental issue, anxiety. And ultimately, I mean, we are basically, biological beings that have survived for millennia, and I don't know what the right words are. 500,000 years since we are sort of humans, that we have survived with this fight and flight and freeze kind of mechanism. So it's actually quite a good thing to be anxious. It's quite a good thing to have a very active sympathetic nervous system. How active was your sympathetic nervous system in the past? How anxious did you feel as a younger man?
Well, I want to answer that question, but first I want to say two things to what you said. There's this theory going out that yes, anxiety is a good thing because it's our alarms and it kept us alive. However, if people understand the mechanics of anxiety the way my team and I do, it confuses us because, yes, our system does have alarms that are good for us. However, those alarms should show up not as anxiety, but as stress. If you're scared or there's a bear, you should feel stress. Stress is your body saying, hey, there's an issue, there's some adversity. That's great. Stress, which means 3 out of 10. What people have right now is 7, 8, 9 out of 10, which is amplified stress. That's pain, and that is not good. However, it's good because our bodies, and I'm going to tell you about this, I'm sort of giving it away, but pain is our body's alarm system to say something is off. It's not the bear in the woods that's off. There's something else off. So anxiety is a gift. It is communicating something, but it's not what you think. And I'm going to tell you what it is telling you. And you're going to realize that your anxiety is not a burden. It's actually a gift if you listen to it. But before I do it, your listeners are savvy. You're savvy. There's a lot of people talking about anxiety. There's podcasts talking about it. So your listeners' time are valuable, and I want to tell them what this is about, what I'm going to share, so that they value what I'm about to share, and I've earned their time. So first of all, when you have anxiety, as you know, it's horrible because you're scared, you have doubt, you often start to withdraw from the things that bring you joy. You can't show up for the people you care about. It's just not a way to live. But what makes it worse, I believe, is that most people, when they go looking for help with anxiety and mental health, most of what's out there, if you're really honest, it doesn't solve anything. It primarily just manages the symptoms. Now, it's good stuff. It's helpful, but it's symptom management. Now, why is that not great? Because you still have anxiety, and paying someone to manage your anxiety is like paying someone to manage your drowning or managing your choking. It doesn't make any sense, but we pay. I spent $100,000 to people to manage my anxiety. And looking back, I realized we shouldn't be doing that. So if you've been spending time and energy managing and you want it gone, that's what this is about. Because when you just manage it, you start to think it's your fault because you can't solve it. You start to think you're broken. There's something wrong with you. And I want to let you know, if you're listening to this, you are not broken and there's nothing wrong with you. What I'm going to teach you is the dirty little secret that the mental health community does not want you to know, which is going to explain to you why over $1 trillion, that's T with a T, trillion with a T, is spent every year on mental health and doesn't solve anything. And then I'm going to show you the new innovative discovery that my team made that makes it possible for you to not only solve your anxiety permanently, but do it quickly and in a way that is such a good word, simple. Okay? Now, I know you don't believe me. I know you're skeptical. Be skeptical. So I want to tell you my story briefly so you know where this information comes from, so you don't know you know to value it, but also there's just so much stuff out there on anxiety. It all sounds good. And then you think, oh, I'm going to try this thing. And then it fails you and you feel worse about yourself. So I want you to know where this information comes from. It comes from the fact that when I was a kid, my dad was a scientist. He was a physicist. And he was also an inventor. And growing up, he would invent things, which I thought was like the coolest superpower ever. And I remember being a kid and he had a workshop and I would see him invent things. And he said to me, Daniel, if something in this world isn't working, invent something better. It makes the world better. And he also said something which stuck with me. He said, Daniel, ideas are great. Concepts are great, but results, things that actually work, that's what makes people's lives better. And I remember that. And I went to engineering school to learn to make things work, and I got really good at solving complex problems by reverse engineering a solution and creating things that work. The only downside was, spoiler, I could make a robot work. I could make a mechanical arm work or a bridge work. I could not make my life work. They didn't teach that. I don't know if that was in thermodynamics. We talked about that. So I fell in love with this woman thinking we'd live happily ever after. And spoiler alert, we didn't. We adored each other, but things turned very toxic very quickly. And I was too insecure to leave. And when it did finally end, about 2 weeks later, my system just crashed. I found out later I had anxiety and PTSD. And I the tiniest thing, my body would just contract into terror. And I went and I paid all this money. I went to therapists and psychologists and doctors and gurus and retreats. I was in a cult. I did it all and none of it solved anything. So I still had it and it was getting worse. And then the people that claim they love me didn't want to be around a person in pain, so they walked away. So I'm all alone. I'm in all this pain and I wouldn't have killed myself, but I get why people do. I really do. I was so rock bottom and nothing was solving it. I said, what is the point? What's the point? And the point was what my dad said, which is if something's not working, invent something. And he also said results matter. And so out of necessity to save my own life, but to maybe develop something out there, I started my own research company to see if it was possible to reverse engineer an actual permanent solution for anxiety for myself, but also all the people in pain. Now, it was not easy. It took 8 years. We worked with 3,000 people on 5 continents, $1 million plus on R&D. But not only did we get the theory of how to solve it, but more importantly, the process, the how, the steps to do it. Not only did it save my life, I haven't been anxious in 10 years. I've been just chill as a cucumber for 10 years straight. I feel stressed, but no anxiety, no PD. It's gone. I'm free and I'm happy. This is all natural. This isn't cocaine or anything. This is all natural. And we developed an online program that is solving anxiety with an astounding 90% success rate. And that's because my dad said results matter. And also, when people work with us, we don't charge them on the front end. We charge them at the end once their anxiety is solved. And I'm telling you that because that's not the way things are done. Mm-hmm. But results matter. If we can't help you, we don't take your money. But also, when you listen to what I'm about to teach you and you think, Daniel, that sounds great, but how do I know this will work? Just know it works at 90%. Just know I'm a data set one. And also, if what I'm teaching you didn't work, my company would be out of business. But we're in business, the business of happiness. So that's what this is about, solving anxiety permanently. If you want to just keep your anxiety, if you want to just keep managing it, if you just want to keep putting on Band-Aids, if you just want to go on a never-ending journey of exploration and peeling back the layers, if that's what you want, leave the podcast now because I'm trying to save lives here. If you want to know how to solve it quickly so you can get your life back, so you can be happy and joyful and show up, then stick around because that's about what's about to go down. And I know I come on really strong, but to me, this is life or death. People are dying from this, either physically or spiritually, and we're saving lives every day with this. So I'm in my purpose and I get very excited. Okay, that's my big opener. That's my big American over the top. Whenever I work with Europeans, they're always like, Daniel, turn it down a little bit. I'm like, I can't. I'm an American, but I'm passionate.
You're passionate, but you're also a performer. And of course, when we're on stage, when you're out there and are presenting something, of course, you could do that in a very slow and calm voice. Or you could, of course, actually say yes, because you're convinced. You're actually resolute in your stance. You know, you've gone through darkness yourself, and you're now in a different position, and that is so beautiful. And especially if you put all your money literally where your mouth is, and actually develop something like that. Wow. Cool. But I mean, let's go back a little bit. First of all, I think, right. Let's just see. The skeptic in me, of course, wants to know, right. But I want to know what the old Daniel was doing. I mean, you said, I've got $100,000 investment. Well, I can tell you, $30 bottle of vodka, well, that'll do the trick. Valium, diazepam, just go for it, man. You're chilled as a cucumber. What you all about? You don't need $1 million. What other things had you tried in the past?
What else did I try that didn't work?
Mm-hmm. For you.
I mean, it was the greatest hits. They first they told me it was a disorder in the mind. They put me on the pills. I tried that, and you're chill as a cucumber, a mushy, numb cucumber. And they don't tell you that those drugs affect your brain chemistry so that when you try to get off them, it took me 2 years to get off the clozapam, which was worse than the anxiety. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. I was spirituality. I followed the gurus, living in actual retreats, trying to quiet my mind, personal development, ayahuasca. I mean, come on, man. Like I was doing all of it to searching for some relief. But again, it was just management, and often it was getting worse. And that's just
interesting.
And the problem is, from doing all those different things, what happened to me and a lot of people is you start to think this is a complex problem that only could have a complex solution. Because if 9 different experts are saying 9 different things and you're trying 9 different things and none, you start to think this is complex. And part of the reason people are so skeptical about what we do, which is simple, is because they've been conditioned to think this is complex. And so one of my issues with the industry, and it's what I call therapy, psychology, and personal development, which is all these people trying to improve people's lives that take people's money and don't solve anything. And I call it the improvement industrial complex, which is this like huge industry that's just sucking up money and helping, but not solving. And I'm here to disrupt, or what I call big thera, and say, they mean well, they're trying, but based on results, we have to hold them accountable and ask better.
I love it. I love it because, I mean, many of the things that you have addressed, there are a lot of conspiracy theories there about big pharma, about big pharma, as you call it. I think let's first of all acknowledge that we are talking about a life that has become far more challenging over the recent years and decades. And therefore that it affects more and more people, that more and more people are feeling stressed and feeling distressed. So I think there's a real need out there. And I think we should also give it to our colleagues that everyone is trying to do their best to help. Now, if you only got a hammer, everything looks like a nail, okay? And I think that is the problem that many therapists out there are facing. They have learned about neuro-linguistic programming. They have learned about talk therapy, psychotherapy, etc. So they will use those techniques to go for it. All of these things can work. Some are predictably taking far longer than others, psychotherapy compared with other techniques. So let's put that out there. So I don't think, Daniel, that you're putting down anyone's efforts, because let's give it to all our colleagues out there. The vast majority are doing it because they believe that they're doing something good. But
absolutely, I don't disparage their intent. I don't disparage that it can help. I went to it helped. It didn't get rid of it. It did help. And they mean well. They go to school, they learn their hammers and screwdrivers, and there's value in it, and they pass it on to you. And there's merit to that. And before we figured this out, I was going around doing things that was probably just helping people manage it. They have not figured out how to solve it. So they're doing the best. Absolutely. My issue is not with any individual person. My issue is with, it is acceptable within the industry that managing it is like, okay. And most are just managing it. Now, if that's all you can do, fine, but they don't have an issue with it. I spent all this money and they just helped me manage it. Not a single therapist said, hey, Daniel, I got to be honest with you. I can't help you solve this. I wish I could. I can't. And I'm sorry. I'd like to acknowledge it, or maybe not charge you as much. If you go and you take your car to a mechanic and they can't fix your car, they'll say, hey, look, I couldn't fix it. I tried. I either won't take your money, but I acknowledge your car still makes a squeaky noise. Nobody ever seemed to have a problem that they couldn't solve it. And when I've gone to therapists and told them, look, we've got something that's getting better results. It solves anxiety. Are you interested in learning it? I was shocked. They just kind of said like, no. And I thought, you care about people, but it is confronting to them what we're doing, because it's highlighting the limitations of what they're teaching. So I don't disparage them. It's more to the listener. We need to stand up for ourselves and wake up and go, wait a minute, we're just all ingesting and conditioned to just do symptom management. And even the word help, I'm getting help. I had a client come to me. She said, I've been seeing this therapist for 7 years and she really helped me. I said, but you're reaching out to us because you have panic attacks. She said, yeah. And I said, well, then is that really help? Like, I get she helped you, but like, let's look at that word help. If I have a broken leg, if you have a broken leg and you go to the doctor and 7 years later, your leg still hurts, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, that doctor's incredible. He really helped me, give me awareness of my broken leg. I'm like, awareness, your leg is still broken. So I'm just trying to up-level people's expectations to demand more what we ask from physical doctors. If you are having heart attacks, you go to a surgeon to stop having heart attacks. And if he doesn't, you notice it. Yeah. Or if he harms you, you can sue. Not a lot. Some therapists, I've gotten feedback from clients, my therapist, it got worse. Not only did the therapist not say anything, but they're not held liable. So that's my issue, is with the industry, our approach to mental health and the help we're getting, not the individuals. And if you're a mental health professional out there and you hear me and you want to solve anxiety, we can teach you this model. It's very easy to learn. We're trying to get it out to more people. And to go back to what you say, Dr. Neff, when you say these modalities work, they just take longer, I would argue that's not as true as you think. They help you manage it. They give you tools and insights to mitigate it, But trust me, people come to us all the time with the top therapies and they're like, it helps a bit, but it's still here. So I'm not convinced that those things actually solve anything. I think they manage, which is if that's all you got, better than nothing. But let's be honest, let's demand solutions. That's what I want.
Okay. It makes perfect sense that we are saying that. Why don't we go into an example, or let's actually explore your program, and then let's see how much that would, for example, work on the anxiety due to PTSD and comparing it with actually reframing the original injury, etc. So those kind of things. I mean, that these are examples that were close to me, which have led me to feel anxious and have anxiety attacks. But let's see. Let's
Absolutely. Because right now I'm talking this big game. I'm saying these people aren't solving it. We're solving it.
Yeah.
And your audience is like, well, how? I mean, prove it. Now, once I explain to you the architecture that we discovered, it'll make more sense why we're solving it at a much higher rate.
Well,
it's not because we're magical, it's because we saw something the experts missed. And also this is applicable to addicts, because as we know, underneath a lot of addiction is emotional pain. And the program that we developed, we targeted for anxiety, but it really heals multiple types of emotional pain. And we, in our early test phases, we were actually doing a pilot program in South Africa with addicts, and they were getting incredible results such that they wanted to bring us into the national curriculum. So it's not just anxiety, it's basically mental health, emotional health, and addiction. But so here's why we're able to solve anxiety. Okay. Not because, we have some magical potion and there's no psychedelic frog that you lick. Okay. Essentially, we started at the beginning. We were researchers and we said, okay, everybody said anxiety is a problem of the mind. And we thought about that. And we said, they say, quiet your negative thoughts. Don't believe your scary thinking. They give you pills to target the neurotransmitters in your brain. It's called mental health. It's got the word mental right in there. So we thought, okay, well, that's what the experts say, but we're not experts. And that's why we were able to see something, because we weren't regurgitating the same old stuff, the same hammer and screwdriver. We could challenge, and we said, is it in the mind? Because the mind approach, again, based on results, it ain't solving anything. Modern psychology has been around for 100 years, and physical health is improving. Life expectancy is up 30%. Infant mortality rate is down like 80%. A lot of physical things are way down. Mental health is getting worse. And I'm telling you, it's not about the pandemic, because people came to us during the pandemic, did our program, and were calm during the pandemic. So we challenged, just based on results, is it in the mind? And the second we asked, is it in the mind? We realized, no, it's not. Anxiety is not coming from the mind. And it's very obvious where it is coming from. When you have anxiety, you feel it. It's a feeling. I feel anxious, and you can feel your throat close up, your chest can tighten, your heart rate can go up, your stomach can get that icky feeling. So to Dr. Neff, and if you're listening to this, they say it's in the mind, but listen to those words: throat, stomach, chest, heart. Does that sound like the mind or the body?
Okay, I hear you.
No, does that sound like the mind or the body?
Yeah, body.
Body. We were like, wait a minute. It's not in the mind, it's in the body. And it wasn't just theoretical. We developed an early set of tools to just focus on the body. Didn't even go at the mind is a symptom of the body. If you're feeling anxious, your mind starts to spin because it thinks there's a problem. There's a reflex that thinks, oh God, I'm under attack. So it starts to spin. And if you're taught it's the mind, it looks like the mind, because the mind is saying scary things and you feel scared. So, but the mind is not the cause. The mind is a symptom of where the anxiety is actually coming from, which is the body. And we know that because when we applied the tools just to the body, not only did the body start to calm down, but then the mind started to calm down. So if you're listening to this and you spent the last 10 years trying to solve your anxiety in the mind and it didn't work, it's not because you're broken or flawed. It's because they sent you to the wrong effing location. You don't have an anxiety problem. You have a location problem. It's not in the mind, it's in the body.
Okay. And I think that makes sense. I mean, if you are brought up in this kind of mind versus body model or attitude, you're absolutely right. That is, however, it's interesting that you distinguish it so strongly, because most of or maybe I'm just lucky, because from the word go, deep breathing and changing your physical state has been part and part of my management of symptoms / maybe the underlying thing. So you altering your state, isn't that the key to actually approaching anxiety? To changing your biology, changing your body, will that not automatically move forward? Is that not what you're saying?
Well, yes and no. But again, it's very important that you differentiate between management and a solution.
Huh.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to manage it, and people, that's why meditation works. You calm your body down through breathing, you calm your body down, and then your mind follows. Helpful, just temporary. How do we know? Because it just comes back. We worked with monks in India who were meditating 2 hours to 4 hours a day to keep their mind quiet. And we taught them our techniques and process, and they were just quiet because we quieted the body down and then the mind went with it. The key is our approach isn't approaching the body to manage it. We're approaching the body to solve it.
Oh. Okay. You got me on the hook. So come on, bring on more.
So then the next question is, okay, why is the body anxious? And I'm going to explain to you why the body is anxious, but it's not just any explanation. It's an explanation that makes this solvable. That's key. You can give theories about things, and not all theories are solvable. We want something solvable. For instance, if your car all of a sudden stops running, and one person walks up and says, oh, your car is broken. Okay, that's true. That's a theory. And then one person says, well, you have a power issue. It's like, oh, okay, that's a theory too. But what do I do with that? Another person says it's a spark plug. Okay, it's true. But like, what do you do with it? It's not solvable. But if someone walks up and says, actually, your gas tank is empty, that is a solvable solution, because you can walk to the gas station, you put gas in the jug, take the jug to the car, you put the gas into the car, it starts. That is a solvable solution. And that's very different. A lot of people have all these theories, your anxiety. This woman once told me, she gave a talk and she said, all anxiety is a lack of gratitude. And I'm just sitting there being like, that is irresponsible. So I walked up to her afterward and I said, oh, I get it. Being grateful can, make you feel a bit calmer and you focus on the positive. I said, have you solved anxiety with anybody based on gratitude? And she said, well, no, not exactly. And I was like, then don't tell people. It's just going to confuse them. Anyway, this is a simple explanation that is mechanical and solvable. Okay. So when you're listening, it's solvable. So when we figured out it was in the body, we then said, okay, we got to figure out why it's in the body in a way that's solvable. But here's why going to the body is so helpful. If you're in the mind, nobody understands the mind. It's a black box. It's full of billions of trillions of neurons, and they don't understand it. The best we have is like MRIs. They're still exploring space and the human mind. But the body, that's mapped out, baby doll. That is mechanical. You got ligaments and arteries and capillary. It's very mechanical in there. Yeah. And the beauty of mechanics is when things aren't working, you know what's going on and you can solve it. If someone's choking, you don't walk up and go, let me realign your chakras. You have a real scarcity mindset focusing on, no, you do the Heimlich maneuver. It puts pressure on the stomach, forces air up. The cheeseburger comes out or the tofu burger comes out and you can breathe again. It's mechanical. Not psychological. Psychological is theories and guesses. Mechanical, now we got it. So we said, what system, if we can find a system in the body that controls anxiety, then we can figure out that system. I'm an engineer. I understand systems. Yeah. So once we asked that question, it became very obvious which system controls it. So anxiety, if you think about it, if you take away that label, it's really just feeling extra nervous. I mean, you could just call it super nervous. Okay. So Dr. Neff, and if you're listening to this, you already know which system it is, okay? But we'll do a pop quiz because I like to be playful. Which system in the body, if you're feeling extra nervous, do you think controls feeling extra nervous? The respiratory system, the capillary system, or the nervous system? Which is it? A, B, or C? What is it, baby? Tell me.
No, can I call a friend? I would say for the nervous system. I mean, just an educated guess.
Just if you're just guessing, it's so obvious. Now, we know this for a fact because when we built the whole program around the nervous system, that's why my anxiety is gone. But think how the experts missed this. You're feeling extra anxious in your body, and the experts went, oh, that's a brain disorder. I'm like, brain? What? That would be like if you blew an engine and your engine was smoking and a therapist said, oh, your tires. I'm like, no, engine. So extra nervous system. So if you're listening to this, you are not broken, that you're not damaged. You have a system in your body that just isn't running quite right, and it's fragile and releasing pain. That pain is the anxiety. But if you see it as a body issue, you don't feel so broken. You know, if you hurt your knee and it's not functioning correctly, you don't think, oh my God, I'm broken, I'm trapped, I'm just going to end up like my father. You're like, no, my knee system isn't working that well and I can fix it. So if you're listening to this, you're not broken or damaged. You have a nervous system, and I'll explain why, is not running quite properly, and it's fragile and it's releasing pain. That's it. Okay, not broken. Nervous system. That's it. What do you think?
It sounds like a very logical thing, but having said that, knowing how complex the nervous system is I can cut down into the anatomy and see, okay, there's a nerve. In reality, I mean, what you're probably aiming towards is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So those autonomic nervous systems that allow us without our knowledge to function. Am I right or am I wrong there?
Well, you're absolutely right that there are circuits and systems and reflexes that exist and that we don't know a ton about, and that makes it complex. But remember, I'm not telling you a theory. We have a program that's dead simple. And if this was based on autonomic and sympathetic nervous systems, that's already pretty complicated. So that exists. But the beauty of the body is there's a very simple explanation why systems malfunction. It's so simple, okay, and we all know it already. Because when we said, why is the nervous system malfunctioning? It's simple, and we already know what it is. You already know what it is based in your experience with something incredibly sophisticated, your poop.
Okay.
How do you say poop in German?
Many words that I typically don't really want to say on my show here. Scheiße would be one thing. Kacke. Yeah, there are many other words that.
I like kacke. All right. So poo-poo,
your
kaka,
feces.
scheiße.
Your feces.
Your feces.
Yeah,
now,
that's it.
What can our poop teach us about anxiety? That's a book title right there. All right. So every system in the body, most systems in the body, have basic hygiene that they need. There's basics.
Okay.
If you do the basics, primarily the body runs by itself. It's an absolute miracle. There's no subscription prices. We all get a body for free from the divine, and it pretty much runs if we take care of it. If you get enough sleep, brush and floss, drink enough water, eat a balanced diet, do the basics, the body primarily runs on its own if you do basic daily care. Which means if you don't do basic daily care, if you don't eat a balanced diet, if you eat way too much cheese pizza 5 days in a row, it's not a mystery. It's going to show up in your, say it with me, kaka poopa scheisse.
Okay.
If you don't take care of your digestive system, it's going to show, you're going to see probably in your poop, or you're going to get blocked up if you poop at all. Now, the beauty of that is if you're all of a sudden backed up or your poop looks weird, you don't sit there and go, oh my God, I have a complex butt disorder, or these are my hormones, or this is the pandemic. No, you just go, wait a minute. I'm supposed to eat a balanced diet. I didn't eat a balanced diet. I ate a lot of dairy. I didn't take care of my system, and now I'm seeing this symptom. So almost every system in the body has basic hygiene that you need to do. You need to brush and floss. If you brush and floss, your teeth pretty much take care of yourself. The issue is we were taught to brush and floss. We are taught about the food pyramid. We're taught to drink water. We're taught to get 8 hours of sleep. But let me ask you, dear audience, and you, did anybody ever sit you down when you were a kid and say, all right, here is the basic hygiene of your nervous system. This is what you do every day to take good care of your feelings and emotions. And if you do these every day consistently, you'll be emotionally healthy. But if you don't, you're going to end up with problems. Did you ever get that conversation?
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. We're not taught to take care of our feelings and emotions. We're taught to stuff them down. Get over it. Don't take it personally. Boys, don't cry. You're too sensitive. You're too needy. Don't worry about it. Go on. Not to mention when the people that were supposed to love and protect us didn't love and protect us the way we would have liked, it conditions us to think, oh, maybe I don't deserve that my nervous system cares. Look how I'm being treated. Or when people hurt you and didn't acknowledge it or apologize. Our whole culture stuffs things down and we are taught to not take care of our feelings and emotions. So you have a nervous system, and we discovered it has basic hygiene it needs every day. Nobody was taught it. So eventually, over time, if you don't take care of a system, eventually it's going to become fragile. It's not as strong as it used to be, whether that's your skin, your moods, your digestion. It can't handle what it should handle. It's not strong. And when you push on it, just like if you need a root canal and you eat a carrot, you should just feel the pressure of the carrot, but you don't. Your teeth are fragile. You feel pain. But that's the exact same profile of anxiety. Life pushes on you. And instead of just feeling stress, your system is fragile and you feel pain. So that is the core root cause of anxiety, is that there's basic hygiene the nervous system needs. We are not taught to do it. We are not conditioned to do it. And eventually, mechanically, your nervous system, everybody's nervous system is going to crash and become fragile and release pain. But you are not broken. This is not a complex disorder. This is just mechanics. You didn't take care of a system and it's fragile and releasing pain. And the issue, if you want to blame anybody, it's you just weren't taught it. This isn't your fault. You weren't taught how to do this, so you didn't know how and you couldn't do it. So stop. If you can, be kinder to yourself. And also, you're not broken. In fact, when you don't take care of a system and it releases pain, that is the system running properly. That is the body communicating to you saying, hey, need a little help in here. So when I figured this out and I saw my nervous system needed to be repaired, it became this incredible gift. And now I have this incredibly strong nervous system. So your anxiety is not a burden. You're not broken. Your anxiety is a gift. It is pain calling out to you to get the care that it needs. And trust me, when you give it the care, and we have a program that does that, your nervous system becomes strong, isn't fragile, and the pain goes away. That's why my anxiety is gone and never came back.
But give us an example. I mean, you're selling it well, but what is your program?
Well, the key to it is not any one particular. I don't give tips and tools like, hey, oftentimes people want like, oh, what can I do to bring my nervous system back to health? And the issue is, I'm going to tell you more about the program, but I don't tell you the individual tools because that's what we're used to. We're used to tips and tools that manage things. And so I'm tired of little tips and tools. I don't want to teach that. I want to tell people what you actually need to repair. And this is very important, and I want your audience to understand. Once the system has gone into disrepair, you can't just use an individual tip or tool. You can use an individual tip or tool to manage or to maintain, but not to repair if it's gone too far. If you, ideally for your teeth, you brush and floss and you need toothpaste. But if you haven't brushed and flossed for decades, you need a root canal. If you need a root canal, you can't just start eating toothpaste. That won't do anything. It's too late. Or if you blow a car engine, you can't just pour motor oil. It's too late. So I want to explain to people to bring their nervous system back to health. It's not a couple tools. It's a specific set of tools that repairs and brings the nervous system back to health. And what you need is an entire process, which is what you need for the body. If you're having heart attacks, you don't just eat a salad. They take you in, okay? They anesthetize you first, right, in the right order. They put you under, they put in a stent, they open up your artery, they clean it out, then they put you on blood thinners, then they change your diet and lifestyle. It's an entire sequence and process to bring your system back to health. So the reason you have failed is, again, a lot of the experts have given you tips and tools to manage things, but they didn't give you repair tools, and they didn't give you the instructions and the sequence in just the right order to repair your nervous system. That is what you need, and that is what we do.
Cool. Okay. Where to from here?
Well, do you have more questions?
No, it is. I mean, it is. You make a lot of sense. But equally, obviously, there is so much more to your system, and that you're providing us here. That you're letting up. This is not just a quick fix. This is not just a Band-Aid. This is not just something that you quickly do. So therefore, obviously, people need to explore that more with you. Where can they go? Where can they find out more about your path forward?
Thank you for asking. And yeah, it is very simple in application, but it's complex and sophisticated. It took 8 years to figure out how to do. And I mean, the short answer is that people can reach out to me for a consultation just at danielpackard.com/call, but only do it if it feels right to you. But also, we don't work with everybody. So I'm going to recap briefly what we went over so that you sort of understand if this is for you, because it's not for everybody. First of all, just like if you have anxiety, it's not your fault. You weren't taught how to take care of your nervous system, and now it's basically fragile and in pain. And the fact that you couldn't solve it and still have anxiety, that's not your fault. It's because the experts, while well-intentioned, didn't know what we figured out, because we were outsiders. We had that luxury, and they sent you to the wrong location, and they gave you management tools, and they didn't tell you how to do them in any particular order to solve anything. So that's why you still have anxiety. So you're not broken. You're sent to the wrong location with the wrong tools and know how. And the downside is, unless you get that, you're always going to be managing your anxiety. What we worked on, and this is the beauty of it, it makes it simple. If you go to the right location and you use tools that repair the nervous system, and you have the right instructions, the right sequence and timing and ratio, you bring your nervous system back to health. And I'm telling you, I am living proof. It's what I did on me. And if you're like, Daniel, can it be that simple? Just think about it. If you don't brush and floss, you'll have tooth pain. And if you didn't know about a dentist, you could have an entire life of tooth pain, and you'd be eating carrots and thinking, oh, I have carrot pain disorder. And then you eat ice cream, and you're like, or maybe I have ice cream disorder. Or maybe it was the fact that my dad made me eat ice cream on my birthday, and now I have trauma around ice cream. Yeah. Or maybe you go to the dentist who knows what to do. He brings your teeth back to health, and you brush and floss. And then a lifetime of tooth pain could go away in weeks. And that, under that model of understanding, that's how a lifetime of emotional pain can go in a matter of weeks. There's precedent for this. So just understand that this isn't a miracle. It's just a body approach. And the beauty is, we spent the last 8 years figuring out not only the ingredients, but also the instructions, the specific sequence in just the right order and timing and ratio, such that if you work the steps, you get the results. And what it is right now, originally, we did it on me and about 1,000 test cases, and we got the results that we were looking for. But to scale it up, we needed to make an online program. And we didn't want to release the online program until we got at least a 90% success rate. And that took another 3 years to do that. So now it's a 6-week online program. It's 4 phases, and each phase is identical structure. You get a set of videos that tell you the theory, then a set of videos that teach you the exercise, and then 4 times a day for 5 minutes, you do the exercises. That is what's bringing your system back to health, that repetition, but also the repetition, you're building a daily habit such that you can now brush and floss moving forward, about 5 minutes a day moving forward to maintain your healthy nervous system now that you do. And if you do that, no matter what type of anxiety you have, situational anxiety, health anxiety, you don't have different types of anxiety. It's just you have a fragile system. So no matter what type of anxiety you have, this program works. I don't care if you're from the planet Neptar, this is going to work. And it works at a 90% success rate. And I'm backing this up. When you work with us, you don't pay at the beginning. You pay at the end. I'm going to say that again. At the end, once your anxiety is fully solved, if we don't get you help, you do not pay a penny. And we can talk about this. So you reach out to me for a consultation, we'll have a call. You can ask your questions, be skeptical. We like skeptical. And also, I'm going to make sure this is a good fit, because we don't want you trying this program and failing and then feeling worse about yourself. We're here to make you feel better. But also, I'm making sure the program is a good fit, because we only get paid when it works. So I have to make sure it's a good fit. It almost always is, but I got to double, triple check to protect the bottom line. Then we'll also talk about price, which everybody asks. Like, Daniel, sounds incredible. How much is it? We don't charge what it's worth, which is like $1 million, because to have your life back. We don't want money getting in the way of your happiness, and we don't want you spending money you don't have. So if I sense that you are committed and you really want to be free of this, we have different packages with different levels of service and different payment plans. So if you want to do this, no matter what you can afford, we will make it work for you, because you're the reason we do this. If that sounds good to you, reach out to me, book a consultation. If at the end you don't want to do it, no problem, no high pressure sale. If you do want to do it, you could start to feel better within the week. So again, if you want to keep managing it, if you're not skeptical but cynical, don't reach out to us. People that work with us are skeptical, but they have a brave, open mind, and they realize, wait a minute, I can try this, collect the data for myself and see for myself. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. When it does work, you get your life back. That is just good math. That is good math. So if you're tired of living like this, you just want freaking results. You don't want to peel back layers of the onion for the rest of your life. And you just want your life back so you can be happier and freer and get your groove on and like have this amount of energy, maybe not this amount. I'd probably annoy you, but your version of this, please reach out to us. I know it's been hard. It doesn't have to be. Let's talk. DanielPackard.com/call. You do your part. Have a little bit of courage. Take action. And we'll do our part to give you back the life you're meant to live.
And guys, look down there into the description of the YouTube video and of the podcast, because you've got all of Daniel's information down there. So I challenge you guys out there. What have you got to lose? Maybe this is your future. Maybe this is the path that shortcuts many other paths. It is, we don't know. We all need to explore what is there, and Daniel is making you an offer that I found hard to refuse. So here you go, Daniel. You're an amazing guest. You're an amazing man. You put your money where your mouth is. You explored your own psyche, and then did something that actually not so many people do. You actually went out there and proved that your system works. And that is actually quite unique. I like that. The question, of course, is this is a hard thing to prove. When you do studies, being a doctor, we live on studies kind of thing. The question is, what do you use as endpoints? What do you use as a success? How do you define a success versus a quotation mark failure? I hate failure, but it is
excellent question, and you should ask that question. I'm up here being like, we'll solve your anxiety, and you should, if you're being smart and paying attention, you can be like, how do we measure it? Do we just like decide at the end, your anxiety's gone, pay us? No, I'm a scientist. I'm an engineer. My dad said results matter. So this is not touchy-feely, kumbaya, tell me about your experience bullshit. No, we measure. We have a very thorough intake form at the beginning of the program where we measure your anxiety in multiple key metrics. Then we measure your anxiety multiple times per day, every day that you go through the program on our app. So that by the time we're done at the end, we have numerical data that proves that you are feeling better, aside from the fact that you're just happy and get to be you again. But yes, that's how we know this is working. It's how we optimize it and improve it.
Nice.
Again, this just makes sense if you're a scientist. You measure and you see, but in mental health, they don't do this as much. So this is not fancy or cool. This is just an engineer trying to solve an important problem.
I like that. I like that answer a lot. And whilst it might not necessarily fit with a belief system of spirits and chakras and other ways of thinking about it. I like that you take a system approach, that you take an approach of, okay, how can we actually alter a system, optimize the system, maybe reinvent the system. It's a bit hard to reinvent the body, but it's actually not so hard to alter the body. We do it all the time in the way we holistically treat complex diseases such as diabetes, ischemic heart disease, hypertension, etc. It's actually, there are so many approaches, and if you do them in a systematic fashion, then you will see results. It's virtually guaranteed. So why not approach a similar attack towards the mental health problem? So I actually see that. I like that approach. It makes a lot of sense for me as a doctor. So I'm really, really pleased that, Daniel, that you came onto my show. Hopefully your success rate might even further improve by further fine-tuning your program. In order to do so, you need to have people to work with. And hopefully some of my viewers and listeners here today will come on board and say, well, I give that a shot. It sounds promising. And that is only the only thing that we can ask for. Guys, ultimately, it is you need to be ready to change. You need to be ready to and willing to make the commitment. There is a financial commitment that's clear here, and you were upfront in that. There is also, you need to be ready and willing to do something. And this is not just the 1st of January. Let's become a better human being. I will train 8 hours a day now and going to be fit like Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that is not a goal that is sustainable. But having said that, a structured program of 6 weeks or even longer is actually very sustainable if you're ready to do it. And I think that is the key thing. So, guys, ask yourself the right questions, but explore. Ask questions to Daniel, ask questions to yourself, and don't take the status quo as a given. This is only a snapshot right now. Even if that snapshot of anxiety has lasted you for the last bloody 20 years, the past does not equal the future. You at any one moment, you can make a choice of changing. And I think that is where the power is. We can all change. And Daniel, you have got a strategic system there. So thank you very much for coming onto my show and telling people about it. Let's make this world a better place. One intervention, one phone call at a time, and one interview at a time. I'm so grateful that you came onto my show, my man.
It was an absolute honor. Thank you to your listeners for making it this far, for being open, for being curious. And yeah, if you have the courage to let this go, we can help you, but you need to be ready. And if you're ready, we're going to get you the heck out of here before New Year's. So you don't have to make a New Year's resolution about mental health, because your nervous system health will already be there.
Perfect.
I caught myself.
Nice
Thanks
one.
for having
Nice
me.
one. An absolute pleasure. And you guys out there, live with passion. Look after yourself. Bye.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.